What if you could play a survival sandbox game on your Apple Watch? Not a timer, not a step counter, an actual little game right on your Apple Watch. You can mine blocks, craft items, build a house, explore biomes, fight enemies, and then somehow continue all that right on your iPhone. That's the idea behind WatchBlocks, a brand new game that I've created. This started as one of those ideas where I honestly wasn't sure if it was clever or just deeply unnecessary. Like, does a world really need to be on your Apple Watch? Probably not. But did I want to see if it could exist anyway? Absolutely. The first big problem, though, was the screen. The Apple Watch screens are really tiny. You don't really appreciate how tiny until you actually try to fit a player, blocks, health, inventory, crafting, and controls. And somehow, the entire concept of exploration onto the screen was a really big issue. So early on, a lot of the game was just figuring out what I could even fit. The controls had to be really simple, the UI had to stay out of the way, and the blocks had to be readable instantly. If a block looked good on my Mac, but turned into pixel soup on my watch, it had to change. The graphics were a bigger challenge than I expected. I wanted the game to feel like a pixel art sandbox, but on a watch there is a really thin line between cute tiny pixel art and what am I looking at? Is that even dirt or is it a baked bean? So every block had to be simple, clear, and readable. Grass, stone, trees, flowers, water, lava, the player, and enemies like slimes or mobs like chickens. All of it had to work on a tiny scale. And then there was performance. This is where the Apple Watch actually started fighting back on me. A survival sandbox is constantly doing stuff. It's running the world, it's updating physics, tracking mobs, handling water, saving chunks, checking collisions, loading terrain, and syncing worlds. It's doing a lot of things to keep that game so it feels alive. That's fine on Mac, it's fine on iPhone, but when you put it on an Apple Watch, especially older models, the watch basically looks at you like, are you serious right now? Believe it or not, the Apple Watch actually has the power of an Xbox 360, and I will leave you something linked below so you can see what I'm talking about there. But a huge part of this project had to be revolved around optimization, because while the watch does have a processor like an Xbox 360, it doesn't really have the RAM or memory for that. I had to keep finding what was slowing down the game. I had to keep cutting unnecessary work, improve the rendering, limiting what updates every frame, and making sure the game didn't completely fall apart when you flew too high, dug too low, or wandered too far. But eventually, it started looking like a real game. Right now, WatchBlocks has mining, building, crafting, survival mode, creative mode, caves, multiple biomes, water and lava, tools, armor, farming, flowers, chests, enemies, and even mobs. You can start a world on your Apple Watch, and you can pick it right back up on your iPhone, your iPad, or your Mac. As long as it's linked to your Apple ID, you can pick it up anywhere. And that part is honestly one of my favorite things about it. The watch version is obviously the weird hook, but the game isn't only meant to be a novelty watch game. That was the original vision. I just wanted to see if I can make something that would actually work on my Apple Watch. The goal now is for it to feel like a small survival sandbox that just so happens to follow you across all your devices. If you're on your watch, you can do some quick mining, run a few things, maybe craft something. If you're on your phone, you can play more comfortably, and if you're on your Mac, you can sit down and build something bigger, better. Same world, different screen. That's the dream, at least. The iCloud side of things has its own adventure, and by adventure, I mean sometimes it works beautifully and sometimes it says something like cannot create new type in production schema, which is Apple's way of saying good luck. For the future, there's still a lot of things I want to add. Multiplayer is one of the big ones, especially watch to watch, or especially watch the iPhone multiplayer. I actually had the idea originally that's what I wanted to do, but it didn't really end up working the best, so I'm trying to think of a good way to bring it back in a better way. I also want to add Game Center support, achievements, more blocks, more biomes, and better progression. And eventually, the dream is to make it for every Apple device. So the only two that I have not supported yet are Apple TV and Apple Vision Pro. Basically, if Apple makes a screen, I want WatchBlocks to somehow run it. At some point, this may become less of a game and more like a personal challenge against the entire Apple ecosystem. Looking back, this project has been a lot harder than I expected, but I think that's what made it fun. The Apple Watch forced me to rethink almost everything. Controls, UI, scale, performance especially, pacing, all of it. You can't just take a normal game and shrink it down. That's something I learned really quick. You have to ask what actually matters when the player is using a screen this small. And weirdly, I think it makes the game more interesting. The limitations gave it an identity. It's not trying to be the biggest survival sandbox. It's trying to be the one that you can carry everywhere, even on your wrist. So if you're working on something strange or you have an idea that sounds kind of impractical, maybe try it anyway. Worst case, you'll learn a lot. Best case, you end up with something that feels different because of the constraints, not in spite of them. That's WatchBlocks so far. It's still growing, it's still changing, and still asking for an unreasonable amount from a tiny computer strapped to someone's arm. But honestly, it's kind of the point. And that'll be all for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and comment down below if you have any thoughts. I'd like to continue doing some devlogs on future updates. I plan on updating hopefully every week. I mean, not devlogs every week. Maybe. We'll see. But for sure, trying to update the game every week, adding a new block or a new item at least, if not making a big feature update with all kinds of new stuff. Anyways, that's it. See y'all later.